Serena. And unfortunately, there's a few secrets that we're going to have to unveil today. Now, Serena, what brings you into the Morning Prophet Show?
Well, I have this baby girl named Sistina, and she's very sick, and I'm unsure of who the father is.
Well, hopefully we can help you out with that today. What is wrong with your little girl?
Well, me and a girlfriend of mine were actually pregnant around the same time, and then our babies were born really close, and I noticed that the baby just wasn't, like, moving or, like, trying as hard as my friend's baby, and I was having really hard times with feeding.
So it just wasn't thriving?
No, there was not thriving.
No thriving, feeding difficulties, anything else that was wrong with her?
It was really little, like almost like no muscles were ever going to grow.
God, sickly little baby. Poor
Yeah.
Sistina. We have her backstage right now. She's doing quite well. Did she travel nicely?
Yeah, she did.
Great. So, unfortunately, you don't know who the father of this little girl is.
No.
Well, we do have 3 gentlemen in, and we are able to perform a very interesting test that we haven't done yet on the Morning Prophet Show. We have our clinical specialist in from our hospital here in St. John's, and we today will be able to determine who the father is.
I hope so.
Do you have any guess as to who may be the father?
I think it would be John Krebscycle. He was who I was with the most. One of them was very short. The other was, I think he was just trying to get into the country.
And who that? That sounds like Peter Pyruvate.
Oh, it was.
What a rascal. And the third gentleman? Do we know him at all that well?
Oh. Glenn Glycogen.
Oh, yes, Glenn Glycogen.
He was a very short relationship. We'll just stick with that.
Well, today I had the pleasure of sitting down with all 3 of these gentlemen for an interview. And as soon as we take a break, we'll come back and get their opinion. Today I had the pleasure to sit down with these 3 potential fathers backstage, and here are their opinions.
You say this baby has a failure to thrive. Sure, I'm not the smartest guy. My family isn't the smartest, but we thrive. Megaloblastic anemia. No history of that. I think my blood cells are shaped perfectly. Little red pancakes. Homocysteine is great. My levels are fine. I got them checked yesterday, actually. You asked me if I have Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, and neural tube defects. I have none of these. John Krebscycle is not fun. I got too many things to do, places to be, darts to have.
This is not the father of the baby. It's the daddy. You know the father? The father's the daddy. Not the daddy, not the father here.
Thionine synthase reductase. I got that. I got plenty of that. You can culture my cells all you want. Reducing conditions, oxidizing conditions, whatever. They're good.
Let me tell you something, Maury. Glenn Glycogen is a serious guy. And I get serious about 3 things. Babies, hockey, and being serious. Maury Povich, help me stay in this wonderful country. Not to foster though.
My MTRR gene is great. What do you want? It'll be there every time. Guaranteed.
Oh, hey there, Maury. How you doing? I know for a fact that I am the father of this baby. Serena and I had a very, very extensive 3-week relationship where we exchanged many loving situations.
Look at this thing. It doesn't even look like me. It's tiny. Definitely not thriving. My babies would thrive. I'll tell you that. I don't even want to hold this.
I like to be the father of this little guy, you know, take him out to the rink and whatnot, have a good time, shoot a few pucks. Welcome back. And now, we can reveal what you've all been waiting for. Who is the father of this poor, sick little child? I happen to have with me the results right here. Are you ready, Serene?
Yes, I'm ready.
And the father is John Krebsicle. Right now.
Alright, Maury. John Krebsicle is back. What do you got for me?
The DNA tests are in, and you are a carrier for CBIE disease. That means you are the father of Serena's baby.
Well, I guess I could be. What's wrong with the little guy? Everything. Talk about this. Me and Serene, I got some things to talk about.
And here we have John Krebsicle. John, how you doing? Great. Have you on the show.
I'm alright.
So, how do you feel about this news? You are the father of this baby.
It's very shocking news, Maury. I didn't think it was me at all. Sure. She gets around.
Yeah, how does that make you feel knowing that there could have been other fathers?
It's frustrating, Maury. It's frustrating, but we're gonna move on, I guess.
John, do you plan on being involved?
Well, I thought about it a lot. I don't really know what's wrong with the baby, besides that I can't thrive.
Well, John, your daughter actually has methionine synthase reductase deficiency, also known as CBIE disease. It's actually a rare autosomal recessive disorder, and the reason we were able to determine you are the father is because you are a carrier of that allele.
Really? Wow. This is bad news.
Well, John, there's no running away now. Alright. Up next, we'll have with us our specialist, Dr. Polly Proline, and she will be able to tell us all about how cystina was diagnosed and successfully treated.
Methionine synthase reductase is an important enzyme in folate metabolism. It reactivates methionine synthase, which is responsible for converting homocysteine to methionine. Without activation of methionine synthase via methionine synthase reductase, there is a toxic buildup of homocysteine, which causes the symptoms of CBIE disease.
And now let's welcome Dr. Polly Proline to our show. About your emergency room experience when we had Serena bring in little cystine into your hospital.
Well, Maury, when Serena first brought in her baby, she described little Cystina as having a failure to thrive. And upon closer examination, I noticed that she also had low muscle tone. So I ran some blood tests, and I found that little baby Cystina had a high level of homocysteine.
Now, homocysteine in high levels in the blood, does that have a negative effect?
It does. It's a very toxic effect.
What other tests did you run?
So upon further examination of the blood plasma, I diagnosed Cystina with hyperhomocystinemia and hypomethionemia, as well as a urine test to diagnose homocystinuria. And then I checked her bone marrow and found she also had megaloblastic anemia.
And how did you know she had megaloblastic anemia?
When you examine her bone marrow under a microscope, you can tell that the blood cells are misshapen, which is due to an excess level of homocysteine.
Well, now, so after your diagnosis and you found out that she was, in fact, methionine synthase reductase deficient, what now?
Well, in order to diagnose methionine synthase reductase deficiency, you need to run some genetic testing. The type of disease she has, CBIE, is an autosomal recessive disorder, so both parents must be carriers of the gene. So, we didn't have the father to run DNA against until we brought in the three potentials.
Mr. Krebsicle here.
That is me.
When we ran the 3 samples, you were the only one that was a carrier, so we knew you had to be the father.
Now, John, you said earlier in our interview that there's no history of any disease in your family. Is there something you might want to change about your story now?
Well, Maury, now that I'm thinking about it, Alzheimer's has definitely been present in my family. Great Nan had Alzheimer's, and now that you say it's cardiovascular disease is quite present as well.
Now, could these be common effects of long-term
Those
homocysteine?
things are very common effects of increased levels of homocysteine.
So are you a little more sure now that cystina is, in fact, your baby?
Yeah, a little bit sure. Not doubting it as much. Kind of makes sense, I guess, Maury. Doctor, what can we do? Is there any treatment for this poor baby?
There is a treatment, a betaine supplement. It's proven to be very effective and reduces the long-term negative effects.
So she can have a healthy life.
She should be okay.
Well, that's great news. Right after this break, we have tigers that jump through hoops. Thanks, everybody.